This is the Millennial Gaze.
Hey, that was cool. That was snazzy, Katie, with the music. I see you. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. What's good? It's your girl, May Money. I got Katie and Keisha over here. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's a happy Monday, the 18th, and I hope everybody is starting off their week great. We got a lot to talk about. Hey, Jazzy, I see you out there in the crowd pulling up. So we got a lot of fun to talk about today. We're going to talk about the reality of what's going on we did fact checking, and fact checking is great. But sometimes, actually, I wouldn't even say sometimes. I really think to this point, reality doesn't matter. It don't matter if your facts are straight on, your stats are 110% correct. These people don't give a fuck. Okay, so we want to kind of go into a little bit of the lack of reality and the reality that we are living in, and kind of juxtaposition all of these arguments and all these beliefs and all these and how we got here, because I think the lack of being in reality has put us into quite the dangerous place. We do have a special guest coming on later during the show, so don't be startled if somebody else pops
there she
up.
is. Hey, girl. Hey.
Oh, I summoned her like magic.
Hi.
Hey, Nicole. Hey.
Hi, Nicole.
How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, she pro. She knows what's up.
Yes. Weirdly enough, though, I actually don't. Can I plug it in? Let me try to plug it into. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Nicole is my cousin. She's awesome. I love her. And I'm so happy that she is on here with us. So I'm really excited.
Wait, so where's everybody at? So I'm in Philly. I probably should have put that. And
I live in New York. I'm usually in New York, but I'm currently at a friend's place in Kentucky.
Kentucky, fun.
What part of Kentucky?
Lexington-ish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my ex-husband is out in like Newport, almost Cincinnati area. He's from there, so yeah. I used to go there a lot and stuff. We're still good friends. It's not like a weird thing or anything. But I'm from Oakland, California, born and raised, still out here.
Fun. Wait, so how do all you guys know each other?
So we are all this like one tier on the Don Lemon YouTube channel.
Oh, awesome.
And so like we can be on the show, and then they had their own, Keisha and May had their own like private thing with a couple other people that I joined up with, and then May and I were talking about this, and so here we are.
Yeah, so it started under we all met under Don Lemon's show. I had my own little like puny channel. Hey Monique, I had and I was like, let me go on Don, and then I ended up meeting all these great like-minded people.
Yeah.
And Kim is like our head honcho of We the People, which also you need to join us on Wednesdays and Fridays at 4:30 Pacific and 7:30
Eastern. Yes.
I'm getting
which works out well because I'm on the radio from 2 to 7 Eastern. So it worked out. So I like jumped in my car and like ran in, and it worked out good. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Nicole, and why you thought it would, you wanted to come and join us before we get started. And please feel free to make yourself comfortable, because this is a Monday show. We do not button ourselves up. I just got off of work. We chilling.
Great.
We're gonna talk real, okay?
So I am from near the Poconos. Well, I live in Philly now. I'm from near the Poconos. Like Katie said, we're cousins. Our parents, so Katie's mom and my dad, were first cousins, and grew up, in the same area, go to the same church. And I do say like we're very lucky because we have. We grew up in the smallest town imaginable. Everybody was white and Catholic. We went to, I went to Catholic school my whole life from kindergarten to 12th grade. But our moms are like really badass liberals. Like they love church and like pray, but they're like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. Right. Like,
yep. Cool, absolutely.
And my Grammy was like that too. And I think I use that as an example kind of like just because I've been in Philly since college. And where we grew up is such an interesting area because it was a little bit about that area in Pennsylvania. It was kind of where the union, like the labor union started, because it was the coal miners. It was like Mullen Mars coal miners. And it was a really big Democratic area because like the Democratic Party was very much about like, you know, middle class and banding together. And now it's become this like Trumper land. And so it's very interesting for me where it's something where I'm like figuring out a way how to, you know, re-educate those people in that area. So it's kind of fascinating. But anyway, I was always obsessed. I wanted to work in entertainment. I wanted to live in the city. I was like a super curious kid. When I would go to New York every year, I'd be like, I want to live here. And so I ended up going to college at Drexel, which is in Center City, Philly, and always knew I wanted to work in entertainment, and got an internship at Q102, which is the top 40 radio station, and worked there all through college, graduated college. And it's kind of funny we're talking about this because I was on season 4 of The Biggest Loser. So that was kind of like a fun little departure. And like The Biggest Loser documentary just dropped this weekend. So it's kind of like perfect timing to talk about that.
And we're talking about Jillian on the show tonight.
Oh my God. Perfect. Perfect. And then, yeah, so I've been in radio. I work, and again, interesting. I work at a country radio station. So I worked in top 40 majority of my career, did social media. And I'm really plugged in the social media space. And since 2019, I've been at the country. I do afternoon drive on the country station in Philly. But again, also very interesting because I like do not hide my beliefs. I'm very liberal. But obviously in the country space, there's a lot of people who aren't. So that's been kind of interesting. But I've been really fortunate. I mean, I'm lucky in a sense that I'm in Philadelphia, so it's definitely a liberal city. We, you know, that's just the reality of it. But I work with like really great people, and like even our marketing director, when Jason Aldean was here this summer, he's like, you don't have to give tickets away if you don't want, or like you don't have to go to. So like, and he's a white male, straight white male, and so it gives me hope. I was like, Donnie, you give me hope. So there's some good, and I think that that's also important too. Of like, there are like still good people in those spaces, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're not all individually wealthy billionaires, so it's like you got to work, right? And so it's like you know, I'm fortunate where like we have an artist like Luke Combs who, you know, did the cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, and they did that beautiful performance at the Grammys, and you know, Eric Church is, so there is good people to hold on to, and you know, the people that aren't, you just have to say like, unfortunately they exist. And like, you know, that's just the reality of it. It's also interesting too, because I'm really into sports, and there's a big, there's a sports station in our cluster, and I talk a lot about sports. And I don't know if you saw, Lamar Jackson was kind of getting, he retweeted something from Charlie Kirk. Okay. And yeah. And it was about God. It was like Jesus first. And people, and it's like Lamar probably doesn't know who Charlie Kirk is. I personally would assume he doesn't, but then I'm like, you really
felt like he didn't.
Yeah. But and I'm like, but you probably should, like, because that's my whole thing too, is that like when you are at that level, right? Like you are the face of your franchise, and you're in Baltimore, like. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Harbaugh, who went to the White House and said a very tone-deaf statement, when you're like in Baltimore, and like the mayor of Baltimore is doing such incredible work, and like you're hanging out, right? So, but one of my really good friends, who, shout out to Tyrone, he was the afternoon drive host, The Fanatic, for a long time, Black man, and it was like, you got to separate the art from the artist sometimes. That's very hard for me, and I feel like I think some people can. I have a very hard time with it, right? It's hard for me to separate the art from the artist, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have. And yeah, I'm just glad that, you know, the cool thing about social media and technology is that you get to have these conversations, and you get to meet people from all over the country and talk and interact and learn and, you know, share ideas and stuff. So yeah, I don't shut the fuck up, as you can tell.
No, we're all good. So we're here to just like let all that out, and we want to get to know every single one of us on this panel, or in our channel in general. We want to know who, you know, we want our audience to know who we are, so that we ain't, you know, pulling no wool over anybody's eyes. If you don't fuck with us, then bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, we are here to accept all sorts of just experiences. It's so important. So let us just go ahead and jump right into the fun stuff, right? You ready, Keisha, for are we starting with this first clip, and then let's just go for it.
Tell me how great they are, how they were Vikings and everything, how they invented the wheel, okay? How they created civilizations, all right?
We can hear it, but we can't see it.
In the world, that we're better off here than we were in Africa, and how black people commit all the crime, and our low IQ, and our low impulse control, and that the white man has done everything, okay? They've created all the inventions. And then at the same time, they say this.
And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
And I gotta be honest with you, I gotta hit him with the Scooby-Doo confused look. Like what are you talking about? Because what they want to do is have their cake and eat it too. You gotta pick one, pimpin'. You gotta pick one, boo-boo. Because y'all can't talk about how y'all were colonizing the world, but not as far as talk about how you did that, right? Y'all can't talk about how you discovered America and how you brought the United States, but then want to look over how did that come to be? You can't take credit for, we freed the slaves, okay? Do you know who freed the slaves? We freed the slaves, Lucas. That's what we did here in the United States, the Emancipation Proclamation. You can't say stuff like that, but then neglect to mention, well, how did they become slaves to begin with? These people are insane. They're insane. And the only thing they want to do is be victims. This is it. They constantly want to scream, it's just anti-white racism and this is what's going on and I don't know how to handle it. Bro, they always want to be victims. And I'm so sick and tired of the lineage of evil. The people who have done the worst, most barbaric things in history are now wanting to be victims, okay? And here's the thing. Nobody has ever said all white people, okay? But I find that interesting because as we give charitable responses to them, what do they say? All black people. They see one black person doing something wrong and they're like, all black people are bad. They judge us by our worst, as I've said before, and they expect us to judge them by their best, right? They don't talk about the slave owners. Who do they talk about? Abraham Lincoln, okay? They don't talk about the person who killed Abraham Lincoln. They talk about Abraham Lincoln. They talk about, George Washington, the first president, but they don't talk about his teeth coming from slaves. They love to whitewash history.
He's out of line, but he's right.
That's what they do. That's what they are doing.
Let's go ahead and give that a pause and bring it back to the panel here. So this is why I wanted to start off with this first kind of just basic umbrella of the reality versus like the different realities. It's almost like a magical realm, like a fantasy novel that some people happen to live in, and then the rest of us normal regular people are living in.
But look at the stuff even with Chris Columbus, where everyone's like, "Oh, Columbus Day." Yeah, no.
He didn't even make it here. He did not even make it. He did not even step foot here. Okay.
He also thought this was India. So, and his maps were wrong, and then all of the R wording and pillaging, and
we don't need to go into that because.
But that's my point that I was trying to make was, a lot of white people in history books are like, he was so great, he discovered stuff. No, he didn't. Mm-mm. No.
That's why I get confused, and that's why I wanted to kind of talk about this, because we are literally fighting and trying to argue against people that are not even seem to be living in the same world. I'm opening the floor.
I mean, I've said before that America is not going to survive if we don't admit the truth of how this country was started. And people need to get out of their feelings. This is not about you and your individual behavior and you and your personal feelings. We are not responsible for the actions of our ancestors. We are responsible for how we respond and how we do better. And so I don't understand why Jillian Michaels wants to parse facts and distort the truth to make herself feel better. Like the guy said, this is not about all white people. This is about a system that is a problem. And we're not going to make this better if people can't admit what the truth is.
And so as somebody who knows Jillian a little bit, it's crazy because she was on obviously my season. I had Bob as my trainer, but she was there, and my season was season 4, where she was on season 1 and 2, left for season 3, and then surprised everybody to come back from season 4. And I didn't really work with her a lot. We toward the end, we got to know each other a little bit better because there was less people. But the thing that I believe about Jillian and a lot of these conservative talk hosts, because I also have a bit of a personal connection to Glenn Beck, which sounds insane. But his head writer and co-host Stu's wife, Lisa Page, used to be one of my closest friends. We worked together at Q102 in Philly. I was very close friends with Stu, was at parties at Glenn's, and, would always joke before 2020, oh, Lisa and Stu, the only conservatives that I like, right? Because there really is a divide in the world of like before Trump and after. And even more so like before 2020 and after, right? It's like you can't exist in a world. I hate when people say like, oh, respect people's opinions. Well, no, like it's not about that anymore. So for somebody like Jillian and people part in that world, we brought up Charlie Kirk, like I really do believe it's about money and fame for them. And it's about notoriety. Nobody was talking about Jillian Michaels. She was non-existent. Jillian Michaels was the face of the fitness industry in the 2000s, right? From 2002 to say 2017, like no one was bigger than her, right? And then social media exploded and TikTok exploded and Instagram and YouTube, and there's all these new faces of fitness, and no one was talking about Jillian Michaels anymore. And Jillian Michaels wants to be famous, and she knew if she went down this path, because she saw it. Remember, it kind of started with Lizzo. Remember, she was making comments about Lizzo, and she realized, oh, I'm going to be this is like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. If I'm controversial, people will talk about me again. I'll be in the news again. Then she started like a year or two ago about the weight loss drugs, right? And now and then she kind of like dipped her toe. She started with like the MAGA movement, right? Like trying to be on the healthy track. And then she realized, oh, I'm famous again. I'm making money again. And let me also add that she has a Black daughter that she adopted from Haiti. So, and she's a lesbian. So like,
I knew about the lesbian part. I didn't know about the
yeah. Oh yeah. So she had a son with her then wife that I think is biologically her ex-wife's son, biologically her egg, but her daughter, she adopted her daughter from Haiti. And to me, that is just such negligence as a parent, as a mother. And, I think in her mind, does she believe everything she's spewing? No, I don't. But I think that makes it almost worse, where she's doing it for money and she's doing it for fame, because she knows that we're talking about her. Look, we're talking about her again. We would have never talking about Jillian Michaels even 3 or 4 months ago. And so I think that it's hard for me because it really does fill me with rage. And I think if you see a lot of those people in that space, it really started with like Rush Limbaugh, right? Where he realized, if I say something, all these people are going to pay $19.99 a month to like listen to what I have to say. Because the reality is that obviously like MAGA is real. The Trump cult is real. People really believe this. But these people who are multimillionaires, like they know, right? They're looking at it from, a business perspective, which to me makes it even worse. And the Jillian thing is really, it's also strange timing because of the Biggest Loser documentary coming out. And she's now kind of like, but she wasn't in it. She wasn't in the documentary. She declined to be in it. And I'm sure part of it, here and there could have been the fact that, she believes some of it, but I think she knows what's going to put her in the news. And then the problem is that people latch onto it, and now here we are, and it has legs, and that's the problem. It's that
and it's been something that's been growing legs for a long time. So she saw her grift, she saw her money grab. I didn't know who this bitch was until like a few days ago. Like I'm gonna keep it a bean until I seen her say some dumb shit on the internet. You know what I mean? On CNN of all places, where they allow this woman to come on and say something like that next to a black man. And it's just wild to me. And miss me with the all white people don't do this. Okay, we get that. If you ain't that white person that is about that life, that spits that rhetoric, then you know that. And if you really need that validation for somebody else to tell you that we're not talking about you, then maybe we are talking about you, and then maybe you need to evaluate your life. So you know what I mean? Like,
and I do think
so simple.
What Keisha, what you said, that's how you pronounce your name, right? It's Keisha. You can make it sure. What you said about, if we do not fix this, like, will the country survive? And then do you go by May?
Yeah.
May. Okay. What you said, May, about CNN allowing her to do it. And I think that's such a bigger part of the conversation too, is that we live in this society of hot takes, and these companies, whether they lean liberal or lean conservative, like, they still want the clicks, they still want the ad buys, they still want the money. And there used to be a responsibility of the news to be a way where they're like, we're just going to give you the facts. We're just going to give you what's happening. And it's like, now CNN wants us to talk about it. Right. And so they'll invite Jillian on, and they'll have these insane conversations. And that also frustrates me to no end too, because I'm like, why are we letting this happen?
They don't even really have conversations as much as it's just a screaming match around a table at this point.
And Scott Jennings just looking at the camera like,
I know. And, and I understand that, like, you need more voices because there's so many of them, the red pill with the white men in the conservative space. But then you look at somebody like Candace Owens, right? Who into that space. And then once Ben Shapiro fired her, then she's like, what am I going to do now? Now she's like latching on to such, she did the whole Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni thing.
Well, look at what she did with Emmanuel Macron's wife.
Right. That's the thing.
But I think something that we need to...
We don't claim her.
I think something that, like, we need to realize, and I know that, you and I have talked about your Biggest Loser experience, that what you saw was what pretty much went on. But reality TV, at least in the last, 10, 15 years, is not what's really going on. And I think that, that's the reality TV that, this administration is trying to live in, when the real reality is not that at all. Does that make any sense? So, a lot of reality TV now is just scripted, even though it's reality. So that's just what they're trying to do in DC.
I mean, and they've been pretty successful. Keisha, do you want to run that Van Lathan real quick so we can tie this one up real quick?
No sound. It's muted.
I think you gotta click it directly on it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Weird.
Try it one more time. Just click it.
No.
No, I can't hear it. Do you want to just or you want to try it again? Katie, give us a
try.
If you haven't yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here at the Millennial Gaze every Monday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. We love having guests like my lovely cousin Nicole here, and we love interaction in our chat while we're doing the show. So please keep it up and tune in here on We the People Unite.
And racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you slavery
in America was.
Do you know that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
I want everybody to know this. We don't think that y'all ancestors was the only people that had slavery. All right, it's just for all the, we don't think that. But that right there is an important lesson about why you need to understand history. So I'm going to shoot Jillian some bail, and I'm going to assume right now.
You're giving her too much.
I apologize, Rachel. God damn it. I'm going to assume that she doesn't know what she's talking about and not that she's purposefully saying untrue things. Okay. Here's the deal. I am not smart, but I can read. I'm not Mark Lamont Hill, not at all, but I can read. Right. So let's take that claim for a second. Only 2% of white people participated in slavery. That's a quaint way to look at the American experiment of slavery. When we are talking about slavery, we're talking about the involvement of slavery in the American economy. For somebody like Jillian, she thinks, okay, the white people that were involved in slavery are the white people who owned slaves. Mm-hmm. What if you owned a newspaper, and in that newspaper, you advertised slave auctions? Mm-hmm. What if you owned an insurance company, and that insurance company insured slaves? What if you owned a shipping company, and that shipping company shipped slaves? What if you are a part of not direct enslavement of African people, but the economic infrastructure that benefits from the direct enslavement of African people? Sorry, you're a part of slavery. By the way, there are numbers behind that. There are estimates that at the peak of American dependence on slavery, you're seeing around 20 or 30% of the American economy involved in slavery, right? If you transport that number today, that is $8 trillion. And that doesn't even begin to contextualize the global industry of slavery, where cotton alone is so dependent on by some other nations. Us moving away from the slave trade is changing their financial systems. So many things that they are depending on the American South for, that there are political ramifications in the freedom of Black people. There are cultural ramifications in it. Jillian just doesn't understand the issue. Mm-hmm. Either that or she's lying. I would venture to believe that she just doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And that's why history is important. Not so you can find out who is to blame for it. The scope of the issue lets you understand the condition of Black people after that and what would have to be done to reinvest into a community that legitimately suffered billions of lashings for trillions of dollars.
You cannot tie.
Thank you, sir, for just laying it out straight. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, sir. Dive in. Keisha, you were the one that shared this. So go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it was really important to have that context, because whether or not Jillian is lying, whether she's a grifter, just like the president, it's important that we dispel these myths and these lies, because there are people who are listening to her and using the same rhetoric and arguments, and to be in denial and to pretend like we don't have the problems that exist. Mm-hmm. And so I really appreciate that Van broke it down the way that he did and applied it to, you can own a shipping company, you can own a paper. Like, this entire country was built on the back of slavery and people who were enslaved. And you can't deny that. And it's sturdy. No one wants to think that people could be so callous. But look at what's happening right now with people who are in immigration detention centers, which may as well be prisons. We're all unfortunately complicit in this, whether we want to be or not.
Yeah, and then also just that, again, there's that reality coming right back around. Like you said, Annabelle, I swear to God, if like you said, it's foundational. We are built on this, whether you like it or not. So there's no running away from where this country is built on. And the only way we can fix it is by addressing it and being real about the actual issue. Ain't nobody saying that you were a slave owner, but we have to recognize, like, you can't fix a problem without realizing and recognizing what the problem was to fix. Otherwise, you're just going around on a dummy mission. And so it gets so frustrating to me to have to go on these circular arguments when we don't seem to have a grasp on like what's really going on. Final thoughts on this one before we move on into our full segment.
People need to stop like thinking that history is like these Disney movies and it's all like magical and happy. There's a lot of history in this country and in the world that is hard, and it's hard to listen to, and it's hard to take, and it's hard for the people that went through what they went through. It's not all comfortable, but we have to know the truth. We can't be making stuff up.
Well, I think it's scary when, you know, like it was, if you go back 5 years even, like I think if you did an anonymous survey, 90% of the country would be like, slavery is horrible. Like that is just what it was. And it's like when you give all these people a platform and you give all these grifters, and kind of going back to the whole grifter conversation, it's like they are saying these words and people are believing it, and people are now like, that's, I think, what's so like overwhelming to me is the amount of people that like believe it and live it and then like make it their truth. And it's like, we already had established that slavery is horrific, just like the Holocaust was horrific. And now all of a sudden we're giving opportunities to people to say that it wasn't. That is insanity. And that's what's terrifying to me, where it's like, how do you grow this country into a better space when it seems like in a lot of ways it's being like sucked back into a vacuum? And that's like it gives me such horror, because I don't know what to do, because it's like you have people like us, like we're preaching a lot to the same people who are the same like-minded people. So it's like, how do you get into those minds? And especially like take the boomers out of the equation, just because they're probably not going to change. But it's like, how do you get into the millennial? How do you get into Gen Z, Gen Alpha, to be like, this is insane. Like, we need you to be like the whole like red pill white man. It's scary that they just like fell into it. And then the whole other conversation about just like white women following along too is horrible. And it's like, that's the thing that I think about on the daily basis, is how do we stop this cult from continuing?
Real quick, Jazzy has a question for you and I, Nicole.
Yeah.
I have faced a lot of bullshit from a lot of white men. For me, white men, especially on like that side of the fence, they're cowards and they're scared, and all they do is try to put other people down to make them feel better. I'm not saying all men are like that, because I'm married to a white man and he is absolutely not like that.
Wow.
But the people that you're talking about, Jazzy, you know, absolutely, it's a lot more of men, but women are way more like sneaky about it, I would probably guess.
Yeah.
No, they are. I mean, we can kind of like pretty much shut this down in a little bow, but little history lesson. White women were actually tended to be a lot more brutal, because the men used to go off and leave the women in charge, and they would take over the plantations and things, and tended to be pretty insane. That's a whole nother thing. Hey, I ain't your history teacher, so you go ahead and do that for yourself, okay? Katie, give us a spiel to get Keisha ready for our next segment.
If you haven't yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe. The Millennial Gaze is here on We the People every Monday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We love the interaction and chatting with all of you lovely people, so tune in. We even do pre-recorded shows sometimes.
We sure do. All
Yes,
right.
indeed. We're looking into do a reaction video possibly tonight or tomorrow. We haven't quite decided, but keep an eye out for a nice special episode. Might have to do a little bit with our homie Hunter, because, you know, we fucks with Hunter now. You know what I'm saying? All right, take it away.
Make sure we had on our show that Laura Loomer outed Lindsey Graham under oath. And then she responded by saying, yes, I outed him because I was under oath. That what I said is true, and everybody in the Trump administration has told me that Lindsey is gay. So Lindsey obviously is super religious, and whether he's gay or not, I'm always going to fight for your rights, Lady Graham. I'm always going to have your back, sis, always, all right? But here's my problem with you, regardless of your sexuality, because I love you no matter what, Lindsey. I'm going to vote for the real you no matter what. But here's my problem with you, Lindsey. This is your foreign policy comment right here. Play the clip.
Oh, this is
At night, Israel is in a fight for their lives. Our friends in Israel are surrounded by people who would kill them all if they could. I am tired of the word genocide. Let me tell you about genocide. If Israel wanted to commit genocide, they could.
they
They
are.
have the capability to do that. They choose not to. Hamas, they would commit genocide in 30 seconds. They just can't. And that's the big difference, folks. To people in my party, I'm tired of this crap. Israel is our friend. They're the most reliable friend we have in the Mideast. They're a democracy, surrounded by people who would cut their throats if they could. This is not a hard choice if you're an American. It's not a hard choice if you're a Christian. A word of warning. If America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us.
Yeah, for facts.
All right, right there. So your foreign policy is based on an Iron Age book. And that same book is the reason that you can't be who you want to be and who you were born to be. To quote Lady Gaga, you were born this way. The foreign policy based on if God will favor us or not. And this is the thing that people have to understand, because we live around all of the Christian Zionists, which I call rapture preppers. And in the Bible Belt, there are all of these Christians that are prepping for Jesus Christ to return to the earth to take them all up. And in order for this to happen, Jewish people have to be in Israel. This same group of people, I'll call them WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, are the most anti-Semitic people that I know personally. And Pumps really grew up in these circles. And I mean, the most anti-Semitic stuff you've ever heard come out of the mouth of rapture preppers. Right. All right.
Pause it.
You just muted yourself, May.
Oops, sorry. We brought that up because Laura Loomer, the lady that looked like Jigsaw, she went under oath and like said that Lindsey Graham happens to be gay. And then also later other context, the RNC breaks down Grindr every time they come together.
I think they crashed it twice.
Yeah, like in the same night. Like and if y'all don't know, Grindr is like a dating app, hookup app for the gay community. Right. Exactly. I know. And so that was just some context there. But then again, look at how he said, oh, if they wanted to commit genocide, then they would do it. Bitch, you did it. Okay, if they wanted to do this, bitch, you did it. Like, it's like really hard. I need to find the secret magic stone to be able to like talk to these people. That's how I feel. They feel so far gone and so disconnected to the point where I don't know what type of evil demon sorcerer entity that we're even dealing with at this point.
It's all projection too. Like they say, oh, these people are doing this and they're doing that. No, it's you. Mirror. Look at it.
I think JD Vance his gaydar done rung my shit off a long time ago.
You and a lot of other people.
It's always the ones who spew the most hate, right? Mm-hmm. And so it is 100%. I also think that, so many of these career politicians have this innate ability to like disconnect, and their performance, it's a performance of them being like, I'm going to say what my constituents want me to say because all I care about is getting elected because I have the cushiest job in the world. Because they do. It's like they have the best healthcare in the world paid for by us. They have the best vacation time. There's no term limits. And so, somebody like Lindsey Graham, who's literally, and she obviously, said under oath he was gay, but I think it's been known for decades that he's gay. I mean, there's been so many examples of, is it Madison Crawford? He was the
wheelchair dude that was punching the trees and shit. Yeah,
the wheelchair dude that was basically like, oh my God, all those Republicans are having these like coke-filled gay orgies, and then like they shut him up real quick. No one has really heard from him.
He been gone.
He's been gone. So it's like, you're never supposed to tell what happens in the castle. You're not supposed to talk about what happens in the castle. And, I had a really good friend who worked in DC, two friends who worked in DC. And, I do really, I think there's a handful of politicians that really do want to like change the world and want to do good. I really believe like Obama was one of those people that really wanted to do good. And then I think so many of them it's such a cushy ass job. And I think they all just like hang out and frolic together in DC and then act crazy when they need to. And I think Lindsey Graham is a perfect example of that.
Well, and it's not just their constituents. A lot of them are being paid by big donors.
Yeah.
And so that's what keeps their pockets lined.
And then there's this level of comfort that I think you don't even have to be like this big donor person. I think a lot of us thought that we would be okay, that everything was actually good, that we didn't have this underlying boiling cesspool of evil and racism and misogyny and homophobia and pedophilia and all these other fucking shits that just been under here waiting to come and gain power. And I think we got caught slipping. I know we got caught slipping. And so I really pray that we don't make this mistake again when we are through this. I don't know if, but I would say when. But
sorry, May, go ahead.
But yeah, that there's just a lot of things that I think we may have just thought it was going to be okay when we were dealing with a bigger problem than we thought it was. And I blame myself for that. I didn't think it was this bad, maybe, but I knew it was pretty bad. But this is a whole nother level of fucked up shit.
Yeah,
Lindsey Graham absolutely disgusts me. I to Jazzy's point about the amount of humanity you have to give up to reach this kind of level of thinking, to trade some sense of morality and ethics for money and power is absolutely abhorrent. And I think that man is trash. And I don't agree with outing people, but I can't feel sad for him either.
No, I have no pity for people like that because they made their bed.
I think go ahead and be gay. I'd much rather hang out with all my gay friends than yo raggedy ass. You look like you stink, bro. Get out of here. All right.
The thing that just makes me the thing that really pisses me off was his rant about Israel. And I'm not saying all Israeli people are bad. Absolutely not. I've seen videos of people in Israel like fighting back all of this, literally saying how messed. Yeah. And like, what just really got me was seeing those photos of those poor children, where like they're just skin and bones. And I saw a video the other day. I think Canada dropped like care packages, and I saw this one father and like his baby getting formula for the first time in like months because everything there is just so sparse in Gaza.
Yeah, I think it's important to differentiate between Israeli people and the Israeli government. Just like in this country, it's like you have the US government and you have the US people, because we are part of the US and we don't agree with a lot of stuff the government is doing. And I think it's the same thing. And I think that that's what's really hard is that, and it's interesting because I have actually more Jewish friends than I do Muslim, or, obviously I don't know anybody that is from Palestine. And so I've been having one of my really good friends who's an old intern lives in Tel Aviv. And he's one of those people who joined the group where there's a lot of young people that have like, this like Israel and Palestine kind of like, unit that they're, trying, but like, they only have so much control, just like we only have so much control here. You know what I mean? It's like the Israeli people are just, they're not controlling what's happening in the government. Right. And so I do think it's, because Hamas is a whole other part of this where it's a big part of the conversation. And I have a lot of people slide into my DMs, and it's interesting because there's a lot of rhetoric on that side of saying that like, it's Hamas, it's Hamas, it's Hamas. And it's like, yes, no one's denying that, but the sheer and other devastation and, just extreme turmoil and what is happening in this country. It's just fascinating. But again, and most Americans who are talking about this, we're only watching it from what we see on social media, right? So that's also really hard too, because you have, you know, a lot of this is, you know, Americans who are watching this, and you have Jewish Americans, you have Muslim Americans or Middle Eastern Americans that are just basically like at odds. And it's the governments that are that is causing all this. And it's the people who are suffering. And most of it's like children who are suffering, you know?
Well, okay, and that's the reality, right, Nicole? Again, so we just circle right back around and back to the reality of the situation. And I do want to drop a little history lesson note on the whole Palestinian Israel region. I believe it was like 1967. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Palestine used to be its own country. After World War II, a lot of like refugees came in from the British Empire. They were allowed to have some space in like Israel for the Jews. And then they just started expanding. And so if you look at a map from when that first happened to the map of Palestine now, they've been continually pushing and pushing and pushing out the Palestinian people to the point that they don't even have no land. And so what do you expect people to do? And let's just keep it a bean. Hamas is probably gone at this point. They've obliterated that entire region pretty much to rubble at this point. So I don't think Hamas is really a problem. I think Oakland could take over Hamas quicker than anybody else could. So let's just keep it a fucking bean. Okay, this is a complete destruction of people, and the history behind it, a lot of people don't like to look at. Again, it's colonialism. Again, it's people colonizing people's space and then being surprised when people fight back. I'm not no supporter of terrorists or Hamas or anybody or even the Netanyahu, all these people. But I'm a supporter of living in the facts and the reality and the history of the situation, period.
To bring up
Jazzy said about Hamas, and like honestly, there's these two women in my DMs that go in about it, you know, because I've obviously talked about how I can't wrap my brain around how like this extreme devastation and is happening, and that's what no, like, but Hamas, and I'm like, there are literally starving children, and that's like, stop doing the but, just say like, and again, you know, it's hard when you have no ability, you have no power to do anything, you know. I feel like that, and I honestly, in a bit of a selfish way, I'm like, and this is where empathy comes in, right? Where it's like, I see those videos and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? But then it's like, I see the horror that's happening in this country too, right? It's like, it's hard to try to do it all, right? So it's like, I think it's important to be aware and use your voice in how you can, but it also gets very overwhelming. And sometimes it's like, it is to the point where I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't even know where to look, because I don't want to turn away from what's happening in this country, but I also want to know what's happening in the world. And like, that's not it. There's devastation happening in Africa, and there's devastation happening in India, right? Like, the Middle East is just always such a hot topic that's what everything is kind of focused on.
This is where the money's at. So
yeah.
Well, and I was talking and then I lost your okay. So I remember they were talking about, like, I think Jazzy mentioned it at some point. Like, they were saying literally like babies were Hamas and stuff. Like, so
it was I think it was there's somebody said that on that Jubilee thing that we reacted to.
Yeah, but you know, Nicole was talking about just like children. So if you have kids under the age of 4, Miss Rachel is a very popular YouTuber. She's a music teacher in our household. We love her. And she is very big on stop killing children. And she is getting obliterated by the right wing, like telling her that she's anti-Semitic and all of this stuff. And she's donating and helping and working with like Palestine health organizations to try to help these children. And the fact that anybody is coming after her for her saying stop killing kids is just, it's insane. And I don't know. I just get so frustrated with that, especially just being a mom myself. Like when I see those kids, a lot of times I just see my kid and I'm like, I can't.
Okay. Well, we're gonna because that's a whole nother can of eggs. I keep saying can of eggs. I don't even think that's a thing, but can of eggs that we gonna open. Let's like, comment, share, subscribe. Hey, I see y'all in the chat over here chopping it up. The drop. I see the drop with Nitra over here. I see Jazzy always here. Pitchforks pull it up and in lurk mode sometimes. Marley in the chat as well. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Make sure you don't embarrass us in front of special guests with Nicole. All right. So, make sure to welcome our new friend here as well. I'm your girl, May Money. This is the Millennial Gaze. We are always here on Mondays at 4:30, God willing, Pacific time, whatever other time you got.
7:30.
7:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, whatever. If you're in Europe, probably a little later. But we're here because this is truth telling. This is reality living. And sometimes you just need to talk shit on a Monday. Hey, Tiana. And we got some love for Nicole as well. All right. So I'm going to introduce this next one because we're kind of, this is how I connected this episode. So Lindsey Graham probably is gay, so is JD Vance. Jesse Waters definitely gay, but whatever. I don't care. Like, actually, they'd probably be much better people if they would just come out and be free. You're just fucking up the entire planet because you won't accept your gayness. So sad. But now we're going, and honestly, Connell might be lightweight on that shit too, you know what I'm saying? But
he's near death, so who fucking cares?
Yeah. He's a skeleton at this point. Like,
I mean, even the gays don't like that tiny. I didn't say nothing. Anywho. But we got Gavin Newsom, and this is not all the tweets. We're not gonna go all in, but I want you guys to hear his response to the reality of the situation. Let's go for it. Hit him with it, Keisha.
Oh no, there we go.
Thank you.
Under the folks on X that are clearly trolling the president. Can you just talk about like a strategy?
I don't know. I hope it's a wake-up call to the president of the United States. I'm sort of following his example. If you've got issues with what I'm putting out, you sure as hell should have
Exit full screen, Keisha.
President. So to the extent it's gotten some attention, I'm pleased. But I think the deeper question is, how have we allowed the normalization of his tweets through social posts over the course of the last many years to go without similar scrutiny and notice?
Sometimes you just got to give them a taste of their own medicine.
Let's just run that back one more time real quick, just because of the video issue. Just start from the beginning. It's fine.
Those posts on X that are clearly trolling the president. Can you just talk about like a strategy?
I don't know. I hope it's a wake-up call to the president of the United States. I'm sort of following his example. If you've got issues with what I'm putting out, you sure as hell should have concerns about what he's putting out as president. So to the extent it's gotten some attention, I'm pleased. But I think the deeper question is, how have we allowed the normalization of his tweets through social posts over the course of the last many years to go without similar scrutiny and notice?
Hello. Bruh, like, what are we? So y'all didn't see this motherfucker tweeting every day for the past 10 years on some crazy deranged shit, and now all of a sudden when somebody literally copies his exact style, now all of a sudden y'all got a problem?
It's so interesting because I think we all remember Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high, right? And it's like now, unfortunately, that has not worked. Like, unfortunately, it is, what really made me insane? I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago where Trump tweeted the AI photo of Obama on the OJ Simpson white Bronco. And then JD Vance like retweeted it. I was like, this is the president and vice president of the United States of America. And this is what is happening. Like, I could not focus the rest of the day because I was so physically disgusted that this is where we got to. And I'm like, it is just not how the fact that is what the office has become. But the reality is like, we tried to go the higher route. We tried to be the more intelligent, the more, have the more je ne sais quoi of it's not working. So it's like, well, we might as well try something because we have to figure out. I mean, the reality is like, we have to figure out how to take it back, and it's like, so let's just try it because, to even wrap your brain around the fact that, could you imagine like any other politician, not even president before this, acting this way? It is so disgusting and vile, and people think it's funny. And so good, if Newsom has to do this to like break through and rile people up, then it's like the other way wasn't working. So we got to do something.
When you think about like the high road and stuff, I think of like Chuck Schumer out there being like, "Oh, I sent a strongly worded letter." Yeah, what good did that do?
Right.
And you were mentioning like the Obama was in the Bronco or whatever. The one that really upset me was the White House like retweeting about ICE coming for you and like the chains. That one, oh, like, what is this? This is supposed to be the government, and like the government is obviously not great, but like, come on, this is like teenagers that just got their first Twitter or like Instagram page. Like, what?
Well, the guy who does the White House account social media used to do social media for fucking UFC. Like,
that makes a lot of sense.
And so now Gavin Newsom has like the gangstest boss bitch I've ever heard of. I think her name is, I forget her first name. It was something kind of unique, but Zapata is the last name. And she has just been just obliterating these people. And so try it or lay down and die. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, what you gonna do?
We have to do it now. We have to come up, because I think that's another thing that drives me insane is that like, the MAGA movement is insane, but it works. It worked. It's a cult. It's whoever, and I say this all the time, this will go down for centuries in history books. It was not Trump. It was somebody in 2015. Somebody realized, oh, the average white man feels forgotten about. Let's give him matching hats and say, you'll be rich like me. And it worked. It worked. And it's working almost a decade later, over a decade later.
Yeah.
If we want kind of like, Keisha, where we started with you, where we're like, we can't let this country crumble. The biggest question is like, what do? We have to have some kind of plan to figure out a way to like get people back. And it's like, if we're going to try stuff, like, let's just try it because.
Yeah. And then, yes, Nicole. So we were just talking about this today, maybe not all of us, because I was watching a few other shows. And I've been seeing a lot of people talking about, okay, so what? Okay, so you're going to sit here and complain about Gavin Newsom doing some childish shit when we've been living with childish shit for the past fucking 10 years or more now at this point? Okay, so what else is going to work? Do you have any ideas? No. Right. So sit down and shut the fuck up, because you're not going to do anything about it anyway. So you might as well let him try. And also, the whole thing, everybody is so bold and big to come out and rip apart people on our side, but they don't have the same energy for these crazy mad people on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's where we're fucking our own team up.
Well, right.
Like,
And
don't
so,
shoot me in the damn back when I'm over here trying to help out, and you're like, oh, well, you said something wrong, so now you're just done. Like, what the fuck is this? Y'all ain't coming on my team in the apocalypse. All
but
y'all.
I also think you said it though, what you said, and I think that this is really important about as a whole, let's just say, the Democratic Party. And it was actually interesting. This came up we were actually in Katie's parents' pool. And this was last summer. It was before Joe Biden dropped out of the race, right? And our family friend, my mom's best friend, who Cindy knows, Diane Kishulak, who would be like, actually, Diane would be, talk about like a badass boomer to have on. Diane Kishulak, I mean, she knows what's up. But anyway, she was so worked up because, and it's so true, and I think about this a lot, where it was like, this is before Joe Biden even dropped out, and it was like every Democrat was split, where like so many Democrats were like, he needs to drop out, this is embarrassing, and every other Democrat was like, no, he needs to stay. Well, guess what? Majority of the Republican Party know that Trump's a psychopath, but you know what? They always band together. And that's something that we also have to figure out moving forward, is that like, we have to work together. And they're insane, but they do it and it works. Like,
but they're insane together.
Yeah. And it works. They know that Trump's psycho. I mean, look at JD Vance. Like, he was such an anti-Trumper. And guess what? The minute he knew that he needed to do it, he did. Came together. And Diane was saying that this is even before Biden dropped out. They're like, stop. The Democrats were so focused on like, if Joe Biden could run, instead of being like, let's make this happen. And the whole party fell apart. And that's something too about, again, coming back, figuring out how to make the country a better place. It's like, you got to stop being like, well, Gavin, there's half the Democrats like, Gavin Newsom shouldn't be doing this. And then the other half is like, I'm glad he's doing that. The other half's like, well, I could do it better. It's like, no, you got to.
You have to. I mean, even Bernie Sanders, I saw some old shit today where I'm done with him. Like, sit down and eat your warm oatmeal and your fucking soup, bruh. Because like, now is not, sit down. Okay. You're not going to be fucking president. Get over it. Help out any way you can. Love you. Much respect, but sit the fuck down. Because now he's over here talking about, well, Kamala did this. And like, bruh, do you not see what we are going through right now? And that we, the millennial, and regular age people and not elderly, sorry, love y'all in the elderly side now.
Regular age people.
Like, we have to live through this shit, not you. So if you ain't got nothing to serve, then I need you to sit down, bro.
It makes me so angry because it's like majority of people in the Republican Party know that Trump is insane, but they all rally behind him because they know that's what they need to do for the party. And I'm like, it worked.
But they can all fall together too.
Yes.
Let's make sure that happens.
I think the closest the Democratic Party ever came was after his first term, and everybody was like, okay, we have a choice of like Bernie or Biden or Warren or whatever. But then at the end, everybody was like, I don't care who it is, vote a Dem, get him in, get Trump out. And that was the closest we ever were, and we have to get back to something similar to that.
No, MAGA is the real united team. They're the ones that really know how to win a Super Bowl out here for real. We over here scrambling, passing the ball to the damn wrong person,
or they
not
cheat,
to the right person,
or they cheat.
Are you a 49ers fan?
My family are insane. I don't fuck with football, but I used to be a Raiders kind of fan. I'm a Warriors fan, and I used to be an A's fan, but now they gone, so I can't fuck with them no more either.
So just the Warriors, okay?
No, the Warriors, yeah, but 49ers, this house is taken over by them, and I give them their space.
Yeah, because that's hard too with because between like Joey Bosa, it's like yeah.
Ooh, don't get me started, girl.
I know. That's how I feel about all the Philadelphia Phillies. It's like it's tough.
Yeah, but first of all, Dub Nation all day. But we got some really cool, like the Oakland Ballers, our new like minor league baseball team. Billy Joe Armstrong is part owner, Too Short, and I forget the third dude. But yeah, that's super fun. We got the Oakland Roots, our soccer team. We got the Valkyries just came out. So we good. We don't need these billionaires over here trying to take away from our city. Bang bang Niner gang. See, Pitch Wars is a Niner in the chat. All right, you got the next one, our next reality check for us. And let's kind of rat-a-tat-tat on this so we don't keep people here for too long. Unless y'all trying to kick it for a while, I don't have anywhere to be.
DC, I'm right outside the metro station, so if you hear a train, my apologies. Just want to give you all an update about the situation on the ground here in Washington, D.C. So, as you guys know, for the past couple of days, this administration has been agitating local Washingtonians with the federalization of our police force, with the deployment of National Guard. He's doing everything that he can to erode our local autonomy. Our council members are taking issue with the fact that Section 740 of the Home Rule Act was invoked, effectively giving the executive control over our public safety functions and our decision-making functions in the city. But the thing is, Donald Trump issued this order under the guise of a public safety emergency. But what we know to be true here on the ground is that there is no public safety emergency. Now, outside of the thing that went viral where Elon's Doge boy got beat up downtown last week, crime is actually down here in DC, violent crimes especially. And so it's important to note that this is not done for public safety. If this was done for public safety, you would have to wonder how that kind of decision-making could be coming from the same person who decided to release the insurrectionists that wreak havoc on this same city. I mean, if you prioritize safety, why would you do that? Or if you truly care about safety, where's the unredacted Epstein list? I mean, there's so many things that could promote more safety than coming and eroding the autonomy of a duly elected Black legislature here in the form of our city council and our mayor. So we know it's not safety. We know it's a grab for control. We know this is a test for fascism to see how far we'll be allowed to go. And so to my folks that are outside of DC, turn our voices up. Most people don't care about DC because they don't see it as out of sight, out of mind. They think we're just the politicians. We are a real city with real people and real experiences that are being affected by this. And to my folks in the city, let's stay educated. Because, I mean, the reality is there's only but so much you can do to push back against the unchecked powers of the president of the United States. And we didn't do that to ourselves. The GOP capitulated. They kiss his ass and give him everything that he wants. The Democrats are right there sort of bowing down. And so for us, as community members here in DC who have the most to lose, it's important to look out for each other. I know I just helped somebody get de-arrested yesterday or defuse a situation rather, where cops were just surrounding the guy and had no cause to arrest him. And so just our vigilance can save us. I saw folks interacting with that T-app and having all the details to share about folks. Let's share some things about the presence of these federal agencies in our city. Let's insulate ourselves and make sure that we're safe. And so that's all that I have. Hope to be joining you on the show soon. But in the meantime,
I saw a video. I think it was Jolly Good Ginger. He was walking around DC the other night, and there was ice in an area, and he and whoever was with him just started yelling it and being like, if you don't have your papers or if you're not sure, like, this is what's happening, get out now. And like, nobody was in the streets when they were walking around. And I think it was Friday night in DC. And it was, or maybe it was Thursday night, but it was like pure empty. And I lived in that area for 2 years. Like, that's not what happens. There's people, and DC is a great area. It's a really neat area, and it just makes me mad.
That's one place on the East Coast I've been multiple times because I used to go to the Black swim championships, like the National Black Swim Team Championships, right?
Did you win?
When I was growing up, I used to, I'm a professional. I'm the swimmer of the land up in here. Get me up on a block. I'll pull up on you. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But we used to. It was like a Black swim team league in the country. All sorts of people from all over would come and swim, and so I've been to DC a few different times. It's heavily, a Black city, the same way that I'm in a Black city, you know what I mean? And of course they're over here trying to target a Black city at like DC, and So, and that's the reality. And that's the reality that we've been, first of all, I'm in NorCal. We'll get into this, but I did want to just mention that these realities of the situation, I want to actually maybe challenge. I think challenge is the word I was looking for. I was trying to find it. I want to challenge people to really, next time they hear some shit, make sure you check in with somebody that you may know from the area and ask them, hey, like, what's really going on there? Is it all hell breaking loose? Is this all craziness that they're telling on the news? Are you okay? And da 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 da. I had people asking me about the fires in the Palisades, and I'm like, bruh, I'm like a 10-hour, 12-hour drive. I'm in the Bay. Like, I don't even, like, no, I'm cool. Like, the fire is not near me, and I just feel like the disconnection and the lack of communication, the lack of community with our blue state, our Democrat, our like-minded people in this country is so divided, and it's just so scattered all around. And they got their shit together. They are good with their white supremacy, fascism. They hate women. They hate everybody along the line. And if you hate everybody, then you are on our team. But we over here trying to figure out, oh, well, do you like this? And do you not like that? And do you like this? And do you not like that? While we're fighting a team that is ready to whoop our ass at any moment.
Well, now they're saying, like, DC business owners are saying that, particularly those who own like hospitality, like restaurants, bars, they're losing business because of the disruption of having the National Guard there. So not only is this economic president losing people money again, it's all based on a lie. For what?
Yeah, it's literally a dog and pony show. I mean, that's what it is. We're going to put the dumpster fire here, so you're watching the dumpster fire in front of you, but you're not watching, the rest of the hill burn behind you, right? And like, it's a distraction. It's a way. It's kind of like how we started this podcast, like talking about Jillian, where it's like finding hot topics to talk about, and people are going to focus on that and not. I mean, the sheer irony is that, you have cities and states that have so much more turmoil in, but you're focusing on DC because it's something that he can control because it's DC, and it's talking points. It's just a way to, like, he could play to the base to act like he's being tough on crime. It's all talk. People forget that he was on The Apprentice, which was like a very successful reality show, right? So it's like, it's almost like he's doing it to distract you from other stuff that's going on.
And like, I think Jazzy said it at one point. Not only do they have the National Guard in like the DC area, but other states are starting to send their National Guard. Like Louisiana is sending, even though their statistic crime rate in Louisiana is much worse than it is in DC.
Baton Rouge, New Orleans. I mean, I'm not trying to shade these cities, but
no,
they have an actual crime problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just, and
but look what happened. So they attacked probably one of the richest places in the entire world in Los Angeles, destroyed the tourism. Nobody wants to come here anymore. Nobody wants to interact with any of the things that make all the money in all these places. And so, of course, break California's money. You know what happens when you fuck up California? This whole damn country is going down. Mm-hmm. You take California down, I'm sorry, all y'all broke ass motherfuckers don't stand a chance.
And it's not even it's not even just the areas where like the Guard was, like the National Guard has been. Look at Las Vegas. I lived in Vegas for 3 years, and the Strip, when you would go near it, was bumper to bumper constantly. And now it's like a freaking ghost town. And that's Vegas. Like, that's
New York, one of the most, like, the income comes in there too. Texas, even, damn.
I think Florida too.
Like all the money spots, and they know where all the money is. If they can cripple us, then they can cripple this whole country in about a week, less than. And why are we sitting here acting stupid when that's exactly what I see is about to happen? But don't listen to the tarot reader. I don't even need no tarot cards to see what's going on here. Come on now. Jazzy, I think California should stop paying federal taxes too. I really do.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure California makes up for a state like Texas.
Because that's why we should stop paying their taxes. Because if they want to fuck around with this dude, why am I paying for that? I don't live there. Fuck them. Sorry, everybody that I like in Texas, but all right, let's we have one more in this segment, and then we gonna try to wind it in. But like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love you.
Barbara Lee today, the former congresswoman joined local elected leaders and community members denouncing President Trump's recent comments on the town. Comments implying that he may consider sending National Guard troops into Oakland sometime in the future. NBC Bears' Melina Jones reports the city leaders say they are not backing down this time.
Is downright wrong. It's wrong. It's fear-mongering, not facts. We're making real progress on public safety. Oakland has achieved a 28% overall crime reduction in the first 6 months.
Those comments from a resolute Mayor Barbara Lee come days after President Trump implied he could send the National Guard to Oakland due to crime. He made the comment Monday while announcing he's placing Washington, D.C.'s police under federal control.
New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone.
The comments come as numbers show crime dropping in Oakland. Another reason elected, faith, and community leaders all gathered to publicly denounce Mr. Trump's comments. Mayor Lee announcing the city's legal teams are analyzing the president's statements and coordinating with state and local allies. Today, Lee noted the president listed cities that are all led by Black mayors.
It's no coincidence, though, that these are cities that have large populations of Black and brown people. These are cities, all of these cities where the crime rates are going down. These are the cities that happen to be led by Black mayors. What is this about?
Noting expansive federal cuts under the president's administration, Councilmember Carol Fife suggests the president's time would be better spent investing in critical funding for things like affordable housing and education.
If you care about safety, Mr. Convicted Felon in the White House, if you care about law and order, you would know that the safest cities have the most resources.
City and county leaders are also calling the president out for ramping up ICE detainments, including this week where 6 people were detained in Oakland, including a minor.
That we condemn Trump's scapegoating and attacks on immigrants. We will stand with our immigrant community as ICE continues to sweep across the country and our state.
In Oakland, Melina Jones, NBC Bay Area News.
Okay, let me just open the floor. So first of all, I'm born and raised out of Oakland, California. So like I'm here right now as we speak. First of all, those 6 people that got deported are probably like the first 6 that I've heard of, because they are not out here the way that people are saying that they are. They are heavy and deep out in LA. They're heavier and deep like out in like San Francisco and places like more inland. First of all, California is huge, so like these places are kind of far away when I'm speaking of them as well. So let's just keep that in mind when it comes to geography. Oakland is not one of those places. And I want you guys to realize when he said Oakland, oh, they're too far gone. We don't even talk about that anymore. You know why he said that? Because he said that years ago when he first came and got into office, he mentioned Oakland one time and we said, what the fuck you got to say? And then he got scared and never mentioned us again. So yeah, they don't really mess with us. But I want to just let you know that yeah, bipping the feds, exactly. That's what we've been doing out here. That's what y'all might want to start doing. But I want to say that these people, first of all, they're finding easy targets. And secondly, they're targeting Black and brown communities. But and we're all mysterious about what's going on here. And so, and this is my city, my people, and I wish a motherfucker would pull up over here on some shit like that. I really do. I invite them because maybe we could save this whole country.
But you know they'll never come. They're too chicken shit.
Oh yeah, no, they don't want to come over here. Please do. Actually,
I mean, we've seen what happens. Like a lot of cities will go hard to protect their cities. Like New York is constantly protesting. They're constantly fighting with ICE and protecting fellow residents. So we're not here for the bullshit either. And I couldn't help but have the inner New Yorker come out when he put our name in his mouth. Like, we fucking hate you. Do not come here and try the shit.
Yeah.
Right? I felt the same way. Yeah.
We may have a bitch ass Eric Adams as mayor, but still the rest of us, no.
Yeah. I mean, Philly's the exact same way. I mean, I don't know if you remember like in the 2020 election where it wasn't called, and then it finally was called a couple days later, and Philly threw this like massive party, and he's like, bad things happen in Philadelphia. And I live in Center City, and I was like, no, like we just know what's up. So
I can't stand when he just like mentions yo people. It is the worst. It's like, bro, I wish you would bring your stupid.
The irony is that he mentioned Baltimore. He mentioned Baltimore, and Brandon Scott, who's the mayor of Baltimore, is doing unprecedented. The crime rate dropped like 60% because he worked his ass off to put in programs for the youth, to put in anti-gun programs, and that's where it starts. It's like he started with education and with youth outreach, and that's where it started. And again, I mean, us experts know that, but that's why they're defunding these programs, because
it's so much easier in a culture to break something down than it is to build it, and that they see people building these Black communities, again, building up these Black, brown, diverse communities, building up. And guess what the white supremacist does again? And they break it down.
Like, this should be something that we should be celebrating as a nation. Like, there are cities that have been steeped in crime that are bringing crime rates down, murder rates are down. Like, we should be studying what they did so that we can recreate this in other cities. If you actually want safety, if you are actually worried about crime,
I mean,
pay attention to the fact that crime is going down.
And I know we have to wrap up and I have to jump off because I think this could be like a whole other topic, but I really do like, you remember the inauguration, right? Where like all the tech billionaires were in the front and then the cabinet was in the back. I mean, over the last decade, because I don't think Trump's the mastermind. There's, if we dive into like Peter Thiel, right?
And like, have a brain.
Right. Peter Thiel and like him bankrolling JD Vance and a whole conversation about what Mark Zuckerberg has allowed Facebook to become with all this AI, all these AI news articles that everybody believes. It's insanity. Like the ethic of technology, there's no ethics in technology. But I will say, like, what has managed to happen is that the billionaires have convinced poor white people that poor brown people are the root of their problem. And that's where all this stems from. It's like they have said to these poor white people, these people are the root of your problem. Where and somebody even said, again, because like where Katie and I are from, it's very, white, lower to middle class. And they were talking about like defending these billionaires. I was like, do you understand that the labor unions like started in Carbon County? It's like where people got together to fight the millionaires at the time, because there wasn't billionaires, in the 1900s. And I think that that's like such a bigger part of the conversation too, where it's like you have these cities that are doing such good work. And then, like you said, where May was so genius, it's easier to cut it down than build it up. And all these places were being built up. And now all of a sudden, funding is being slashed and, they're trying to say that it's not working, and it is. And here we are.
Again, I'm going to drop y'all another history lesson before I'm going to line Keisha up with the next, our last little fun thing to lead us out of here. But like basically history lesson. Every time places of diversity and community. And this time around in our 2025, it's not just Black people, it's not just Black communities, it's brown, it's we got the Asian community, we got everybody up in here, even the cool ass white people. Yeah, y'all here too. I got some of the dopest white fucking friends that I've ever met. Okay, period. And when we start building these rich places of just beauty and love and art and culture and food and sunshine and whatever, then here come the evildoers over here trying to stomp it out. They're already trying to make white only communities and trying to take away everybody's shit and all this shit. And guess what? They're not going to stay in that white only community. They're going to come and get bored and go start fucking up our shit again, which they're already doing. We're just going around and around in this circle. Okay. And this is exactly just another circular moment in history. And I'm like, when the fuck we gonna break out of this? Anybody else before we play our clip?
Confused and everything, because there are people who are like, he can't do that, that's not legal. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, what are you, a Democrat? Like, this is the goofiest. That's illegal. It's like, all right. That's what my buddy said when he was getting robbed, too. He was like, well, this is illegal. Stop. Out of your mind. Hey, that's illegal. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's a question that Democrats, constituents ask. That's a question that Trump is asking. That's a question that's on everybody's mind right now. If you
Oh, it froze. Yeah. Josh Johnson is great, and he updates on his YouTube channel a lot, like shows all the time. But it's true. Like, oh, that's illegal. You really think they care? They don't care. They are just plowing through, trying to destroy anything and everything in their path.
Well, and the fact that they like to say, we're the party of law and order, and then you're like, but Trump, and they're like, well, it wasn't real. It wasn't real. It wasn't actual felon. It wasn't actually a felony. Like,
Or
excuse after excuse after excuse. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think it goes back to like what we're saying, that like the Democrats need to figure out a way to band together to really focus on, you know, how to take back the party and work together, because they haven't, you know, they all want to point fingers at each other. And I'm like, that's not going to work.
And they have to stop pearl clutching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he said the F word. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna really fight this, I'm gonna need y'all to get with it. Okay, I can't fight with people that are still like, oh,
yeah,
oh my god, I can't come with you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, do you not see what's going on the streets right now? This is not the time to be like, I just can't. I'm gonna have to leave you at the dollar where I'm gonna leave you here, and I will come back for you if I can, because that's how I'm starting to feel about some of these people. If you are not gonna get with it, and I'm not saying bust a cap up nobody's ass, I'm just saying I'm gonna need you to live in reality. We are fucking with some crazy shit here, okay? These people will do whatever the fuck they want with you, and if you don't realize that, like, I don't want nobody hearing saying, oh, this is not my America. Yes, it is, bitch. If you is up in here, then it's yours too. Okay? It's all you, boo-boo. This is where you're at, and this is where you're gonna be until we figure it out. I don't want to hear, well, isn't that legal? I don't want to hear, well, maybe you shouldn't do that, and then maybe you would do. I don't want to hear none of that, because we are in a dire moment, and like, that's why I get frustrated, because I feel like this country is so either it's probably all 5 of these that I'm going to say. Weak, just complacent,
lost.
Like we think we the biggest baddest shit that's ever happened on this damn planet, but when they really get down to business and people start getting their ass kidnapped and ass whooped on the side of the street, now all of a sudden you scared. I thought you was about it. I thought you was about the Second Amendment. I ain't heard shit about the Second Amendment since all this started. So like, who are we about it or not? Like, even a curse word freaks everybody out now. So I don't want to hear no shit about how brave you are and what the fuck you doing if you're gonna sit here and play in my face while people are literally on a day-to-day basis, and the rate that this shit is gonna get dangerous is moving way faster than we are handling it right now.
I think to your point, to go back to the beginning of the show, we got to live in reality. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to be in this mess.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
And it's
take
going to get
long.
worse, and we're not going to be able to dig our way out of it.
And it doesn't take very long to fact check.
No, it doesn't. Tell a friend.
What are facts without reality?
Yeah, and I do think, I think it is important that these bigger platforms are great, but if you're able to have individual conversations, and
right.
Sometimes a lot of people are afraid to ask the question. And so, and Google is, Google. It's like you said, May, do your history lesson. Yeah. Thank you all so much. This was so fun and feel like I was using my brain. I love that we're in all the time zones, East, Central, West.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job of encapsulating.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you come on.
I'm glad you did too. Don't be a
stranger. I was supposed to come on a couple weeks ago and my watch broke, and the only time they could see me was that Monday. So I had to reschedule, but I'm glad we could do it now. Plus there was like more crazy. Well, there's always crazy shit to talk about. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Hey, well, you're more than welcome to join us anytime.
Thank you.
Make sure to thank Nicole for joining us in the chat. And I'm glad that you guys were very nice to her and treated our guests right in the house.
So nice. And it was so great to meet you guys and have a fantastic rest of your week. Hopefully no drama.
Right? It's always drama.
I know.
At this point.
Guys. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, and for everybody else, thanks so much for being here. This was a great episode. I think this was really fun, kind of easy conversation, because sometimes just being in reality is easier than we make it to be. And I like to just talk about like literally what's right in front of us instead of trying to magically conjure up ideas and beliefs about shit when we could just literally look at our problem in front of us and probably fix this a lot easier. So I don't know. I think this was a really great discussion and something that we should keep in mind moving forward whenever we attack these issues, and because we're always going to have these new problems popping up, but we got to make sure ain't no facts without reality. Okay, it don't matter what fact checking you doing, if people don't believe what the fuck you talking about, then we ain't doing shit. So I just want everybody to really be reminded of that. Last thoughts, Katie, Keisha, before we wind up out of here.
Don't forget you said it. Yeah, and don't forget to take care of yourself during the crazy. And if you know, talk to your people, do something that you like to do, fun. Just take a break. If you need to take a break, take a break. Mm-hmm. And we here at the Millennial Gaze will be here every Monday when you need to vent.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Keep it gangster.